Today, I feel like telling everyone the story of how I had a baby born in the car. Not many of you can say you have had that experience, but I have. All right, here it is. I was 9 months pregnant and I was ready to have the baby. I was miserable. You know, most of us women who've had babies at the end, we are ready. We'll go through anything just to get that baby out. Well, back then, we had to have them all natural, and I had a midwife. So that morning when I woke up, I felt like, oh, something's happening. I think today is going to be the day. And the cool part was it was Labor Day. So I got to labor on Labor Day and have a baby, the real meaning of Labor Day. It's not. All right. So this was my seventh baby. So, everyone's expecting, oh, she won't take that long. So I called the midwife, and the midwife said, okay, just, we'll be waiting and watching and go for a walk. And. So we just waited that day. Well, my husband had a hangover. He had drank the night before, had a hangover, and he was not in the mood to do anything with me. I never had a hangover before, so I can't say what it's like. But he didn't want to. He just wanted to lay on the couch and sleep or do something. I don't know. But he wasn't going to walk with me or anything. So I'm just doing everything by myself, walking. And then the afternoon came and the evening came, and I could tell I was progressing. So I called the midwife and told her, things are happening, and I think it's soon. And she said, okay, go take a shower and then, call me when you leave. All right. So I went and took my shower. I always laugh at that because I had three babies with the midwife, and she told me that every time, go take a shower. And I'm thinking, does she really, does that really relax you? Or does she just want you to, maybe get clean? It does relax you though, if you do. All right. Back to the story. Okay. So I took my shower and I was packing and getting ready, and things were, it was getting dark outside. And so I told my husband, I think we better go. The midwife thinks we should. And he goes, no, yeah, I could tell you're not hurting bad enough yet. Okay. So I kept doing my Lamaze. Does everybody? No, not everybody knows the Lamaze, but we do because we didn't have, epidurals and all of that back then. So we learned everything we could to help our labor. So I knew my Lamaze. So I'm doing my Lamaze breathing, and I am just waiting. And when you get into the third stage of labor, was it to transition? You don't want to talk much. You can't make good decisions. So I think that's kind of what happened to me. And with all my other pregnancies, when I start throwing up, I knew it's going to happen soon. I'm going to start pushing soon. So here it started happening, and I did. I was on the bed and I started throwing up, and that my husband goes, "Okay, it's time to go now. We're going to go now." And I said, I don't think we better go. I think it's too late." And he goes, "No, we're going. Come on, get ready, get up." So the pain stopped. So I got up, walked a little, another pain, walked a little, another pain. And he's yelling at me, "Hurry, hurry." I'm like, ah. Well, and I forgot to mention, he didn't want to go too soon, so we'd have to wait around a long time. That's why he didn't want to leave early. Plus, he probably felt like crap. All right, so I'm trying to get to the car, but it took me about 5 minutes to get to the car. Now here's the car that we drove at the time, a Volkswagen station wagon. And see that back end? That's what he opened up. And he had put a camping mattress back there and said, get in there and lay down and get in there. We're going. And we had to drive 30 miles to the next town because there wasn't a place to have a baby in my town. They had a day clinic, but they didn't have a, place to have a baby. So we had to drive 30 miles. So that's going to be at least 30 minutes. And as you know, this Volkswagen station wagon did not really go very fast. And it was all uphill by the ocean driving. So he gets me in there, and I'm having one pain after another constantly, and he's driving fast as he can. So we get on the highway, Highway 101, and drove up and started driving. And I'm back there doing my breathing. Where are we now? I kept asking him, and he'd tell me we're at Whale's Head. Oh, we're up by Cape Sebastian. Okay, and I'm like, oh, I think I have to. I could. I've had enough babies to know by then that I felt the baby's head engage, and I'm just like, I think I have to start pushing. And he's saying, no, don't push, don't push. I'm like, oh, I think I have. Anyway, when you start making animal noises, anytime you're with the pregnant woman and she starts making animal noises and moaning and groaning, you know the baby's coming. And sure enough, top of Cape Sebastian, I pushed about 3 times and the baby's out. And I said, he knew by the noises I was making that the baby's out. Well, I couldn't reach her down there because I was so big pregnant, my belly, and I couldn't even reach down there or see. And it was dark. And so I remember she plopped out just as he walked by the window going to the back. And he opened up the back end and picked her up. We didn't know what it was, of course. Back then, couldn't find out ahead of time. So he picked her up and he's kind of jostling her. And I heard her cry. And I said, give her to me. But of course, I didn't know what it was yet, though. So, and then he got in the car and ready to go. And then he goes, well, what? I said, what is it? And he goes, I didn't look. So then I got to lift her little leg and look to see, had her right here. And it was a girl. And I was so happy because I wanted a girl because I had had 5 boys. And then my last baby was a girl. And I wanted a sister to go with, you know, my other little girl who was 4. So I was so happy. It's a girl. So then I reached around and I felt a towel. We always kept a towel in the car. So I picked that towel up and wrapped it around her. And then I just kept holding her and rubbing her face to make sure she was still alive because I had a baby die and he couldn't breathe. And so I was so worried about that. So I just kept rubbing her face and talking to her. And, I could tell it was so dark, but I could tell she was doing okay. And he goes, where should we go? I didn't want to go to the hospital because I could just see backing that car in there and they lifting up the back and the janitor and everybody came running to see what was there. And I was going to be too embarrassed to have the whole scene. And I said, no, just go to the midwife's clinic because she had her clinic in a house. Well, in the meantime, the midwife was at the hospital, but we went to the clinic. And so then her husband came out and he called her. And so she was coming. In the meantime, I'm in the back of the car and I could feel the placenta being, plopping out. I knew what that was like. And so she finally got there and came over to the car and she couldn't believe it. Oh my, this isn't our fault. They didn't want to take any blame. We told you to come sooner, which is true. It's my husband's fault because he wouldn't take me when I was supposed to go. So then she reached in and cut the cord. And then she handed the baby to my husband. And then she helped me get out of the car. And then I remember it was horrible because, dripping all the way. I'm not going to say dripping what, all the way into the house. And they got me into bed. Here I am in bed and gave me the baby. And you could see I don't look too good. Looks like I have a mullet, but I didn't. But anyway, and then the husband, here's the daddy holding the baby. He looks happy. He didn't have a hangover then. Okay. So they weighed her and she weighed 8'8". And that was pretty cool because the year was 1988 and she was doing fine. They gave her antibiotics and they gave me antibiotics because of the way in which she was born, the filthy way that she was born. And I think it was third world countries is why I laugh because they all have babies in, you know, precarious places. Anyway, so then it was still not even 6 in the morning. And when we left, all my children were sleeping. Only my oldest son knew that we were going. But anyway, we got back home at 6 in the morning and the kids were just waking up and stuff. So my husband said, "Go in the bedroom and look what's in there." So they all went in. There's a picture of them all looking at the baby around me in my bedroom. And we always had the rule the youngest one got to hold the baby first. And so there's Emily. She was 4 holding the baby. They couldn't believe it. "Did you have the baby here?" And I said, "No, we went to the midwife and we came back already." So everything was fine. And I just laid on the couch that day with the new baby. And here it is, the dad holding his 2 little girls. You can see my foot there. I'm on the couch too. And a lot of people came that day to see him and visit him. And here she was. We didn't know if she was going to be a girl or a boy. So I had made a white nightgown that had blue teddy bears on it. And I made her older sister, Emily, I made her a matching one. So there they are in their matching nightgowns. She loved her little sister. So you might wonder about the car. Well, the punishment, this was great. The punishment for the husband that had a hangover and wouldn't take me had to clean up the car. Best punishment ever. And it, he said, I never did see what it looked like because he had it all cleaned up by the time I saw. He said it looked like somebody got shot back there. And I didn't feel one bit sorry for him. Well, you should have got me to there sooner. And the other thing was, you might wonder, did we have to pay for the a delivery? Yes, we did. It still cost the same. Even though we had to clean the mess up and we delivered it ourselves, we still had to pay $1,300 back then to the midwives when they didn't even deliver her. But she was worth it. And what's cool is her birth certificate says Cape Sebastian, Highway 101, and that's her birthplace. And um, we didn't name her for a week because we didn't know what to name her. And every name we thought of just didn't fit. We went through A clear to the Z in the book, looking at every name. And if she was a boy, it would have been easy because we would have named her Sebastian, Cape Sebastian, because that's where she was born. And we stopped at Herman Road, which is an ugly name. I wouldn't want to name her Herman, him, Herman. But we couldn't think of a name because we wanted it to be fitting. So finally, we decided to name her Hillary because she was born on top of the hill. So she's Hill with 2 L's, Ary, Hillary. And Elizabeth's her middle name from her dad's mother. So Hillary Elizabeth was born, and we laugh because it fits her personality. Growing up, she was born to travel. She loved to go places. Everywhere we went, she wanted to go. She had her suitcase packed. When people came to the door, relatives and stuff, "Can I spend the night with you tonight?" And we're all just like, born to travel. Here she is. And this is the crib that I slept in when I was a baby, and I inherited it. And here she is. Although she didn't sleep in her crib much because I nursed her and she just slept with me. Don't worry, I didn't kill her. I did that with all my babies. And it was so easy breastfeeding. And then I don't know why they pump and feed nowadays. It's much easier just to plop it out and nurse them, and then they're done and they sleep good. And I wasn't that sound a sleeper. And she was so cute. My last baby, she was so cute and fun. And she made my life complete because I had the 5 boys and the 2 girls, and it was my dream come true. And all I ever wanted to be was a mother. And so it was, and now that I'm old, it's the best thing I ever did. I wish I would have had more children now because they give me so much joy in my old age. And um, the older I get and the wiser I hope I get, the more I realize that posterity and family is what it's all about, because that's all you can take with you when you die. Subscribe, and I could tell you more stories. I have a lot more to tell you.